Imagine this. You wake up one day and realize that almost every choice you've made in your life wasn't really yours. The job you have, the way you love, even the moments when you feel you need to be busy. Everything seems to have been written by someone long before you were born. And then, that silent voice inside you emerges, whispering, "Is this life really mine?" If you've ever felt this, know that you are not alone. Thousands of people going through a spiritual awakening reach this exact point. The moment they realize that following social norms no longer makes sense. Today, we're going to explore together 5 social norms that spiritual people slowly leave behind. And at the end, I'll propose a reflection that can completely change the way you see your own journey. We've been trained since we were young to seek approval. First from our parents, then from teachers, peers, and society. It's as if our value is always on a receipt signed by someone else. But have you ever noticed that this never ends? You achieve something, you get applause, but soon you need another victory, another compliment, another like, to avoid feeling empty. Spiritually awakened people begin to realize that this cycle is an invisible prison. They understand that true validation comes from within, from trusting their own inner voice. For the viewer, have you ever noticed how many decisions in your life were guided only by the fear of what others would think? We live in a society that measures success on a ruler. More money, more status, more achievements. And of course, achieving things is good. But what happens when you have everything and still feel empty? Stories of depressed millionaires and celebrities in crisis are everywhere. It's as if life is shouting at us, success is not about what you have, but about who you are. Spiritual people understand this. They don't abandon their dreams, but they start pursuing them with a different purpose. Not for approval, but for inner fulfillment. But what about when even the way you relate to love is shaped by norms that aren't your own? Society tells us, find someone, get married, have children, follow this invisible timeline. But what if love doesn't fit in a box with rules? Spiritual people begin to realize that the most important relationship is the one with themselves. They understand that it's not about checking off a list, but about creating connections that nourish the soul. Some people choose not to marry, others not to have children, others completely reinvent their relationships. And that's okay. Because true love isn't a social rule. It's a meeting of souls walking in the same direction. If you've recognized yourself in any of these points so far, tell me in the comments. Which of these norms have you also started to question? I would love to know. We live in a culture that idolizes being busy. If you're not producing, it seems like you have no value. But spirituality shows us another truth. Being is as powerful as doing. Moments of silence, rest, and meditation. These are what reconnect us with what truly matters. Spiritual growth happens precisely in the pauses, in what the world calls doing nothing. And it's in this space of quietness that true clarity emerges. But there's an even more subtle norm. One we pass down from generation to generation without ever questioning. Since we were children, we've inherited rituals, customs, and traditions. Many of them are beautiful, full of meaning. But others? They're just repetition. Spiritual people start asking themselves, does this make sense to me? Does it resonate with my truth? And little by little, they stop following traditions out of obligation. They create new traditions that reflect who they truly are. This isn't a rebellion against the past. It's an act of authenticity in the present. It's about honoring what still makes sense, but also having the courage to let go of what no longer resonates. Spiritual awakening isn't about rejecting the world, but about consciously choosing how you want to live in it. These 5 norms, external validation, material success, relationship models, endless productivity, and blind traditions, don't have to control your life. You have the power to decide which rules still make sense for your soul, and which ones you are ready to leave behind. If this video brought you clarity, share it with someone else who feels like they are also awakening. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel to keep receiving reflections that nourish your spiritual journey. Because the more we walk together, the lighter we become.